Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow, and in today's episode, I got into the archives and I found some good old fashioned anime newsletters, okay? And it's going to go back in history and go back over some of these, sources of information that we used, to get to know about more anime, okay? So before we begin, don't forget to go down below, click like and click subscribe. Doing that, it helps the YouTube algorithm help other people find these videos as well. Also, if you like to enjoy the content and whatnot, I have also got ways that you can support me on Patreon or PayPal, whatever you like. Again, you can get into some more of these special episodes that I can't normally put on YouTube and whatnot, just because of the content that I've got on them. But again, I've got those available to my subscribers and that kind of stuff for that. All right. So again, links below. You can see what's available and whatnot. I'm currently just finishing up episode 9, so I'm getting that encoded and so get more content available for you guys. All right. So today's episode is about newsletters and anime newsletters. Okay. So a lot of people ask, okay, well, in the early days of anime, especially before Windows 95, how do people know about anime, right? I mean, you can't. There's no such thing as internet, okay? You can't just kind of Google something because there's none of that kind of stuff exists, right? So the only way you really know about something is if it's in print, more or less. And obviously you're not going to go to your local newspaper and look in the classifieds, because obviously nobody's going to write that kind of information in a classified ad. So, well, how would you know? So, what a lot of these fan clubs and little anime groups would do is they'd make a newsletter, a fanzine, so that you can basically subscribe and they have these things sent to you, right? So, I'm just going to bring a couple examples here and just kind of quickly go through some of the stuff that's in them, just to give you an idea of what what they have in these things and what they're sort of available, right? So I'm going to start with a really small one right here. Okay, there's this one right here. It's called the Anime Dispatch. Okay, and this is out of San Antonio. Okay, so the animation club in San Antonio puts out this really small sort of excerpt newsletter, and it as we flip through it, it basically has things like what they're doing on the April 30th meeting of 1991. They go using a meeting room inside the Church Square's apartments. Okay, so basically it's someone's living condo sort of apartment, and I guess they have a multi-use room, and they just gonna basically use the multi-space room for a public viewing, which is pretty good because it probably doesn't cost them any money to do that. But you can see that they're playing Mobile Suit Gundam #1, Zabungle Episode 1, Yoko Leda, Space Adventure Cobra #1, and Galaxy Express #1, and Devilman. Okay, so it goes right into through to the pretty late at night, where you can go and watch this kind of animation. So it's kind of pretty cool that they have this kind of neat stuff at this particular time. The little newsletter also has a brief little talk about the anime Bao, and short descriptions on things like Dragon Sentry and Appleseed. A little bit of little notes on the Night Sabers from Bubblegum Crisis, and a small review of the streamlined release of the animation Zillion. So kind of cool from the San Antonio Anime Club. The next one I have is something called the Jan News. Okay, so again, very similar type of newsletter type of form kind of letter like this. Okay, this is done by it comes from Richmond, Virginia. Okay, the anime club out there for the Japanese Animation Network, or JAN, right? And of course, as usual, it has various different membership information and whatnot. This particular newsletter has a bunch of information, about basically what's happening in the club, some information, lots of various different advertising information. But the main thing that it really has that was really cool is this thing called the Anime Map. Okay, and it basically lists, or has basically a map of the United States, and it has all these sort of different locations and that kind of stuff of different things available in all different parts of the country, and it has all their different clubs and affiliations and that kind of stuff, plus the addresses in which you can write to these people. So basically, even if you lived in, say, Nowhereville, USA, and you're having problems finding anime and finding information, what's available and that kind of stuff, you can basically write a letter to any of these addresses and that kind of stuff, with basically briefly introducing yourself and basically saying, I would like more information about your club, about your newsletter, about what you do, and they'll be more than happy to send you back a letter in response to your answers, to your questions and whatnot. And then maybe you would, join up. There's usually a membership fee sometimes. Maybe there's like a schedule for when you can go to different meetings, especially if you're relatively close to maybe a location. You can come into town and do that kind of thing. And this would be sort of your way in to knowing more about different anime and learning who other people are and where you might be able to get some more anime, because then you might be able to have trading lists and stuff like that. And that's where I'll get into the next issue here. Okay. The next one I have here is a magazine called The Rose. Okay. Now this is the a fanzine for the anime group for Anime Hashin. Okay. Now this one again has the usual things where it goes over different various type of animations, and of course different things that are going on with the club. This particular issue has features on Sanctuary, Guyver, Speed Racer. There's a small clip interview with the artist Ben Dunn. He's the one who does Ninja High School. There's a little bit clip of the book Intron Depot, which is Mashman Shiro's stuff. Dan Cougar, and of course there's a song translation for the Project Aiko song. Okay, so that's sort of the information part of the what's inside here, right? And again, one of the major things that is important about this particular type of magazine is it has a classified section. So just like you would have in a newspaper, or in the modern day you would have something like Craigslist, but it basically allows people to post information, or to sell things, or to have a service or whatever to be advertised to other people. Okay, so these classifieds in this particular magazine has different sort of anime groups, anime clubs, anime newsletters that are available, and different kind of services like printing services and like print shops and that kind of stuff. Because again, a lot of people would like photocopy things and whatnot and need to send them out. Okay. And the other main little thing that's also available, and it comes as a separate sheet of paper like this. Okay, it is the tape and BGM traders for Anime Hashin. So basically, you can send and sign up to be one of these people that is on this list. Okay, and these are the people who would actively trade VHS tapes, or in this case, also they have background music traders, which are basically people who will trade audio cassettes. And so, and this is probably something you can't, wouldn't happen in a modern day, but this is also a list of people's names, addresses, and phone numbers even on here, where you can actually contact people, even out of state, or even theoretically out of country, and you can basically get information about how you might be able to trade or get soundtracks and that kind of stuff for different anime. And this might be, again, for those people who just don't have any anime stores or anything around them. This is your way to get in contact with someone who can hook you up with some anime or add some soundtracks. Okay, so again, it was very important to get a hold of these magazines or subscribe to these kind of magazines to get this kind of information, to be able to basically get your anime. Okay, and again, because remember, in this sort of time, again, there's no internet, so you can't stream anything. If you hear that, hey, you should check out this anime called Akira, well, there's no video clip or trailer that you can kind of watch online, or or actually physically see. Obviously you're not going to be able to see an advertisement on TV for it because it's not even out on video cassette even for that matter. So there's no way you'd know about it. No way you'd see it. The only way is someone would have to make a physical copy onto a VHS tape or something for you, and then send it to you, give it to you, so that you can put it into your VCR, play it, and then you can see what they're talking about. What is this Akira thing about? And actually see it. And then again, if you thought it was cool and great, and you want to show it to your buddies or whatever, you just can't say, hey, yeah, check out this website or check out this link, because obviously they can't. The only way you can tell them, hey, check this out, is you'd have to make a copy, or maybe even just give them your lend them. You may never get it back, but you get that tape to them, say, hey, bring this home, put it in your VCR, and check this out, or come over to my place one day when we're gonna watch movies or whatever, or hang out. I'm gonna show you this great thing called Akira, and then you slip it in there and put it on play and say, hey, watch this, bud. See what this cool stuff is about, right? This thing called anime, it's called Akira, and basically you could show them. But that was really the only way you could show people other animes. You actually had to have a copy there for you. And again, these tape lists really helped out with doing that. Okay, I'm going to go on to a couple more here. This is another one. Okay, it's called FSTS. Okay, this particular magazine is done from Laguna Hills, California, by an Alec Orlock. Okay. He's a pretty influential person in the anime scene at this particular point. But yes, he's put together this particular newsletter. Again, it has much the same as everyone else. And this particular issue has features on the Gundam F91 movie, along with other different things about different sort of releases and that kind of stuff that are coming out. Small bits of advertising. There's some translations of manga. And it has different synopsises for different animes and that kind of stuff. In this particular issue, it's got Patlabor, the fourth OAVA, Orange Road, Message in Rouge, the obviously Gundam F91, and a full-length sort of summary of the Twinkle Idol Stars story in this one. So, the various different other things. This is how we know more anime. So again, this is from if you're in California or Laguna Hills, California, for that one. Okay, and the last one I'm going to do is for this issue is the one called Kimagura Orange Roadies. Okay, this is a newsletter made by Peter Payne, formerly from the mailing group J-List. Okay, he made a special, basically a fan registry or a fan newsletter for Orange Road fans, okay? And this is kind of neat because there's obviously, I subtitled, the Orange Road series, right? And so, this is, pretty, highlighted on this thing. And so I started going and picking up this issue. This is the first issue from that. And, again, right at the very front, it has a list of registered fans, okay, for Orange Road and that kind of stuff. And again, I'm on there as one of the people. But it also contains a manga translation of one of the chapters from Orange Road, kind of one of the more slightly sexier ones. Temptation Behind Closed Doors was one of the manga episodes that they did there, which is really kind of cool. And but the really interesting part that I wanted to point out in this particular issue is that it was on the last sort of page where he's sort of doing his ramblings and that kind of stuff. He writes, in terms of cons and that kind of stuff, he writes, "Talk to this guy, William Chow, part of the Vancouver anime/Arctic anime. He has undergone the difficult job of subtitling Orange Road. I've seen some of the sample episodes he has graciously sent me, and I really like the work he's doing. For more information on how to get copies, please write him." And of course, my name's in the very front part there. So that was really kind of cool that I get a shout out like that, and of course basically you get information. So again, if you're one of these people who are back in 1991 really interested in this Orange Road thing that's going on, and you want to know how to get episodes of that, then obviously you could sign up for this registry. You could then find out the information needed to get episodes in here, and like I said, write me a letter, and then I'll find out, and give you and of course I'll send out the information to you about how to get at this time Orange Road and all the other various things that we were working on, Mizunakaku, Pat Labor, and whatnot at the time. So again, that was the way that that was the way that most people got anime at this particular time, and it was a lot of mailing and correspondence, and of course waiting for things to be done. So it was a lot more work per se, okay, to get your anime and whatnot. But I think you probably enjoyed it a lot more, because the fact that like sort of after taking something and you ordering something, and then actually not arriving in a couple of days, but a couple of weeks plus, right? I think that's why a lot of people, when they get their anime and that kind of stuff, have more, I wouldn't say sentimental attachment, but I think they have some more sort of like respect, or more kind of appreciation of the amount of work it must have taken to do these things like fan subbing and that kind of stuff, and to actually do all the dubbing and that kind of stuff, so that you can get a copy of it. And I said, for a lot of people who had really nothing, to trade, for example, or nothing, and they're just sending in money to get these things done. I think it's sort of, they appreciate the fact that someone else is willing to do this for them, so that they can actually enjoy the anime that everyone's sort of talking about and that kind of stuff. So it was a more of a community sort of thing that was going on, that I don't think you would have nowadays in this particular type of thing. Because again, a lot of people are more concerned about their own self-promotion, their own image, and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of a different sort of feeling, different sort of social environment, shall we say now, which is a little different, which is just the way how technology has progressed. Okay, so I hope you found this really educational and kind of cool that and maybe answer that question about like how did you guys know about anime, and where do you know where to mail things or talk about anime. Well, some of these things that we talk about is through these things called newsletters, and how we had to contact through mailing and that kind of stuff. So again, in the future episodes, I'm going to go over some more letters and that kind of stuff, and especially maybe for fun, and pull out some pretty interesting letters, and things that will indicate things that happened in time. So it'll help you kind of get that picture of what it feels like to actually get anime at this time. All right. So again, just remember to go down below, click like, and make sure you're subscribed, because there's more episodes to come, and you'll be able to catch those when they get them made. All right. So until next time, see you again.